decided to start with foundation on this time, a little lip balm, and my brows on. You'll notice in the future that I'm a little bit at war with the eyebrows. I just want like that perfect tone, and my eyebrows aren't behaving in the way that I want them to, and so they're sort of always changing. But today I have on Anastasia Dip Brow in Auburn with a little bit of MAC Foley, which is a shadow. Tomorrow I may have something different on, I don't really know, but real world problems, right? But they're okay today. I'm feeling okay about them. Okay, so let's get going. And I'm starting with this bit on just to save some time. My foundation is the Youngblood Loose Mineral Foundation in Pearl today. So, and I don't have concealer or anything on, just foundation. So I'm going to start with my NARS Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base, which I like. A couple people mentioned in the comments of the last video that I need a better camera, and I couldn't agree more. It is on the agenda. It's coming, I swear, but gotta work up to it. So next I'm going to go in with this, which is well loved. This is the Abyssinia shadow from NARS, and I'm going to use this all over the lid. Love the color Abyssinia. It's such a pretty shadow highlight, which I'll use it for that as well. Next, I'm going to go in with, this is actually a duo, which goes together something like that. This is a NARS duo. One is a little bit more beigey and a little less shimmery, and the other one has a little bit more pinky tone to it. I don't know, they're very similar, but nice and soft. So we're gonna do these. I'm going to take just a brush, whoops, like this. So I'm gonna take the little bit pinker shade of the two in that All About Eve duo and just pop that on the lid. Now I'm gonna go in with the more matte of the two from the All About Eve duo. And I'm just going to use this in my crease just as my transition color. So this is going to be what I'm going to blend my crease color into and my lid color. Just kind of marries everything together. So now I'm going to go in with one of my favorite shadows, which is this, which is really well loved. It's time to get a new one, I think. This is MAC Sketch. Beautiful on pretty much everybody, unless you have a lot of red around the eye, then this could be a little bit of a problem, but it's such a pretty kind of purpley tone, more interesting than brown, but still very neutral. I love it. It's beautiful. I wear it a lot. And I'm just going to work this into the crease. You want the majority of the depth in the outer corner, and then whatever's left on your brush, just kind of work it in, and then you can go back with your blender brush. I'm not adding any product to it, but just blending. So we're getting there, right? Just keep on a blending. Now again, I'm going to go in with my blender brush, just soften any edges. Next, I'm going to take the same color, Sketch, and I'm going to take it under the lash line as well, and I'm using my NARS brush. The former number of this was number 14, but they did just change them, so I don't know what the new number is, honestly. But love this. I'm going to take this underneath. There we go. Just soft, but it gives us some definition. You want it to be a little wider to the outer corner and thinner to the inner, which is just gonna give the illusion of a little bit rounder eye and open the eye a little bit. It also can be too harsh. If you've got it too wide on the inner, it can get a little dated. There we go. Next, I'm going to go in with this color. It's a MAC shadow. It's called Mythology. Kind of shimmery, but it's kind of a soft, bronzy tone. And I'm actually going to take my brush like this, and I'm going to wet it. You just want it damp, not super wet, just damp. And I like to first kind of get some of the excess water off the back of my hand, and then go in with the shadow. And I'm just going to pat that on the lid. And the reason I'm wetting it is just to give it a little bit more pop. It's also a nice tip when you're doing a smoky eye, because it keeps it from falling out, you know, from getting as much shadow falling down too if it's a little bit wet. But I really only wet my shimmery shadows. I don't really wet my matte ones because it can ruin them. And not all shimmer shadows even are intended to be wet, but I like to wet them, so. Pretty. It just makes it a little more interesting. And now I'm going to go back with my brush like this. I'm not loading any more product on it, but I'm just marrying those, you know, those two colors together so there's no harsh line. Now I'm going to take Abyssinia again, which was that first color I used, and I'm going to use this brush. And I'm just going to clean up under the brow bone a little bit with this. All right, next let's get our cat eye on. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I am a lover of the old cat eye. And one of my favorite things to use is the NARS, comes like this, the NARS eye paints in Black Valley. It comes in all different fabulous colors. The color Tartar is gorgeous if you want something a little softer than black. It's this pretty kind of eggplant color. But I'm going to use black today. And I am using the number 5 YSL brush. This is just my preference. If you prefer an angled liner brush or something more like, whoops, that, you can use that. It's all personal preference and what's easier for you. I like to take the product and put it on the back of my hand. That way I can really flatten my brush out, because with cat eye you want to make sure your brush is just like really, you can see that, just really tight. Oops, to get it nice and clean. So here we go. So I like to start on the inner corner. You want it to be thinner to the inner, wider to the outer, obviously, because we're doing a cat eye. But so many different ways to do this. This is just how I do it. I do little sweeping motions as opposed to going all the way across in one fell swoop. See the line of the shadow under the liner? It's not cute. All right, so now I'm going to draw out the bottom part of my cat eye, and you want to basically line it up with the under part of the lash, and that's going to be the bottom. You want to kind of look to it where you want the end of your cat eye to end, in conjunction to your eyebrow. And then just draw that puppy down. Like so. And then just fill that puppy in. And ta-da! Good, right? Isn't it pretty? I love these eye paints. I really love gel liners in general, just because I like that they dry more matte. I'm not a huge fan of the liquid liner generally because I don't like how shiny they are. It just stands out so much. Pretty good, huh? So that is my cat eye that I am obsessed with and wear all the time. So now I'm going to take my waterproof Sephora pencil in black lace, and I'm going to take that just in my waterline. So I'm going to tight line on the top, and I'm going to do underneath. And when I do underneath, I'm going to take that same NARS smudger brush and just kind of blend that into that underneath color. You don't have to be too clean with this. You want it to, you want to work with it right away when it's still creamy so that it'll smudge out for you. And then once it sets, that puppy is waterproof. There we go. It's soft, but still has some drama to it, right? This is my version of soft. What can I say? Nude eye, right? Just woke up this way? No? Roll with it. Let's see. So now I am going to take a little bit of a MAC pigment. This is called white. Imagine that. I'm the color of paper, right? We know this. So on me, this is not all that dramatic. If you had some color too, you probably wouldn't want to use this color. But on me, it works out just fine. So I am going to take this just in my inner corner just to give me a little bit of brightness. And then I'm going to take my little smudger guy again and just blend that a little bit. See, it just gives me a little bit of light right there at the center of the eye. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the Dolce & Gabbana mascara. This is their curling formula. Little fancy wand on there. This is more of a separating, curling than I would say like a massive volume, which I actually could use some massive volume, but I don't know, this is what was handy. Plus, I think it's kind of fun to play with mascaras that a lot of you probably haven't had a chance to play with, just because Dolce & Gabbana is harder to come by. See, nice separated, fairly natural lash, I would say. Very clean. I haven't noticed any fallout or anything with this mascara when I've worn it, which is good. But there you go. Now let's go in with our concealer. So I am going to use today the Yves Saint Laurent Touche Eclat Chérie. Lovely and pink and brightening. Like so. A little bit of a triangle situation going on here, which is just going to highlight this part of my cheekbone. Now I'm going to use, believe it or not, the Coastal Scents palette, which very inexpensive. You have to buy it like this though, they don't come separately. And I really like this lightest kind of peachy tone. And I like to buff it into my Touche Eclat. And I'm using my Real Techniques brush. This is actually the Deluxe Crease brush, but I love it for concealer. It just buffs it in there so nice. And then I'm also just going to take this anywhere else that I need more coverage, maybe a little blemish or whatnot. Or anywhere that you want a little bit more brightness. It's really hard when you're my color to find anything that's actually going to be lighter and brighter. Because, you know, I kind of am the max lightness and brightness, so a little tricky, but it's okay. We work with it, right? All right, now let's powder this stuff. So I'm going to use the Translucent Crystal Loose Setting Powder from NARS. Love this. Yeah, I just love it. Using my sponge, again, you could use a beauty blender, you could use a puff, you can use whatever you like, you can use a brush. But I'm just going to kind of pat this in. Really want to set under the eye. The nice thing with the translucent setting powder is it's not going to cake up under there. If you're oily, translucent's nice because it's not going to oxidize throughout the day and get darker where you get oily. Which is never cute. Someday I will have a wonderful camera that won't make me look like a ghost, right? Right. Ugh. Jerk camera. Okay, now I'm going to go in with Abyssinia, the one that was under my brow bone. And I'm going to go in with this guy, which is, I think this is an old Stila brush actually. And I'm going to take this top of the cheekbone. Never mind my camera. Now I'm going to go in with my Armani bronzer in number 1, which is this. You can use whatever you please. I'm using it for a little bit of contour, so this is perfect just as a cool tone to create more of a shadow. I love the faces we make when we do our makeup, huh? I literally couldn't live without contour. Do you see that? So many people, when they're really fair, are like, oh no, I can't do bronzer, I can't. You can, you so can, and it's life-changing. It just gives you life, literally. I mean, how dead did I look before, right? And now I have tone. So I'm gonna go back in with my little highlighter brush, and I'm just gonna use this to just blend any edges. There we go. All right, my dears. Yeah, pretty. Now I'm going to do a little cheek. I'm going to use number 306 cheek fabric from Giorgio Armani. This one. Beautiful. I use this a lot. As you can see, it's very well loved. It's that perfect sort of peachy pink, and I love it. It's beautiful. And I can wear it with lots of different lip colors and such, which I like. Alrighty, let's get some lips on me. So I am going to use 3 different things. This is a nude lip by my standards anyway, which everyone in my circle knows that Destiny's nude is different than most other people's nudes. But I am going to use this, which is the number 9 Smooth Silk Lip Liner by Giorgio Armani. And then lip color wise, I'm going to use Tom Ford, this beautiful tone, which is called Spanish Pink. And then I'm going to top it with just the teeniest amount of this, which is a little bit of gloss. It's Pink 517 by Armani, and I'm just barely going to put a little of that in the center of my lip. So let's do this. So I'm going to line it up first. Yeah, that's nude, right? Yeah, I know. Here we go. Now I'm going to take my gorgeous Tom Ford color, which this is a little lighter than the liner, which I like. I don't have the biggest lips, so this just gives me a little bit more illusion of fullness, if you will. Feels so nice. So nice and creamy. And I'm going to take my lip brush now, just to marry that with the liner a bit, and maybe extend a little. Isn't that pretty? Such a lovely tone. And now I'm going to take a little of that gloss just on my finger. There you go. Very wearable look, I believe. You could minus that cat eye if you wanted to, if that was a little too much for you, but just beautiful, fresh colors, lovely to transition into spring. Yeah, so I hope that you will go try this look out. If you do, report back and even send me a picture. I would love it. And if there are looks that you'd like me to do in the future, post them below and I will do my best.